The film kicks off in the dead of night. We see Jason, a professional hitman, driving his car with stone-cold composure. The loud music blasting through his headphones does little to hide his intense focus. He's clearly planning his next move. Suddenly, he pulls up to the imposing gates of the Morris Toy Company. At the same time, we see Hans Morris, the company's owner, walking through his massive warehouse. He looks at his toys with love and passion as if each one holds a piece of his soul. His hand reaches out for a music box with a dancing fairy, a toy that obviously holds a special place in his heart.
From a distance, Jason watches everything through his binoculars, noticing a single lit window in the main building. He checks his watch and decides to wait for the perfect moment. Inside, Morris takes his beloved toy and heads up to his office, using a special keycard to enter. As he approaches the window, his blood runs cold when he spots Jason's car parked outside. His gaze falls on a photo of his mother on his desk, the primary inspiration for his entire world of toys. This is the moment Jason was waiting for. He raises his binoculars one last time to confirm Morris is in his office. Swiftly and silently, he puts on his gloves and a mask, grabs a pistol loaded with tranquilizer darts, and gets out of the car.
Meanwhile, a security guard inside the factory is absorbed in a basketball game on TV. His night is interrupted by a strange noise at the main door. When he goes to investigate, he finds a phone with a terrifying message on the screen. "This is a bomb. It will detonate in 10 seconds. The guard panics, swiping his keycard to unlock the door and grabbing the phone to throw it away. But it's all an elaborate trick. Jason ambushes him with a tranquilizer dart, knocking him out instantly. Jason takes the keys and slips into the security room where he spots another guard on the monitors. He disables the cameras, heads upstairs, and hits the second guard with the dart in the neck. The guard tries to fight back, but Jason finishes him off cold-bloodedly before he can even see his face. He then proceeds to Morris's office and uses the stolen keycard to get in.
Morris rises from his chair, terrified and crying, but Jason shows no mercy. He walks up to him and puts him down with several shots. After confirming he's dead, Jason glances around the office. His attention is drawn to the strange inscription on the photo of Morris's mother. But what truly captivates him is the dancing fairy music box next to the body. He decides to take it as a souvenir and slips it into his pocket. We next see Jason on a plane to San Francisco, casually listening to music and chewing gum. He sends a text to his client, "The job is done," and asks for the money to be wired as soon as possible. He's a hitman for hire, and this was just another job. The woman sitting next to him glances at the message and asks for a piece of gum. As he opens his bag, her eyes fall on the fairy toy. She seems to understand something, but says nothing.
Upon arriving at the airport, Jason sees the news of Morris's death on TV, with police reports confirming it was the work of a professional killer. He continues on his way without a flicker of emotion. On the escalator, he sees a little girl holding the exact same toy he stole, but he dismisses it. He arrives by taxi at his luxurious high-rise apartment building and sees the toy once again, this time on the reception desk. For the second time, he shrugs it off as a mere coincidence. He takes the elevator up to his penthouse on the 40th floor. Finally, inside his lavish apartment, he can relax. He places the fairy toy in a special cabinet where he keeps trophies from his victims. He checks his email and sees the payment has been transferred, along with an offer for a new job in London. But he decides he needs a break and drifts off to sleep on his couch until nightfall. When he wakes up, he checks his security camera footage and sees the receptionist left a small package at his door. Jason is surprised. He wasn't expecting a delivery. He brings the box into his kitchen and confirms it's addressed to him. He cautiously cuts it open, only to find a toy soldier set inside. The box reads, 20 infantrymen, helicopters, 2 officers, 2 medics, along with jeeps and a cannon. He realizes it's a product from the Morris Toy Company. There's a small sticker that says, "Surprise inside," but he doesn't notice it. Suspecting a bomb, he opens the inner box carefully, but finds nothing but plastic soldiers. He inspects one, then tosses it back carelessly and goes to get a drink. And that's when the battle begins.
Suddenly, the box falls to the floor on its own. Jason is startled and quietly scans the kitchen, trying to figure out what pushed it, but finds nothing. When he approaches the box, he's shocked to discover that the soldiers and their equipment have vanished. He feels a movement behind him and whips the curtain aside, but nothing is there. A lamp on the table flickers out. He checks the cord and finds it's been cut. Then the lights above the stove go out. As he investigates, he feels a sharp pain in his leg. A tiny toy rifle is embedded in his skin. He pulls it out, completely stunned. Suddenly, a volley of tiny bullets erupts from under the stove, one hitting him in the neck. He scrambles for cover just as a miniature cannon shell hits his knee, sending a searing pain through his leg and forcing him into hiding.
Jason sprints to the bathroom and locks the door. He assesses his wounds, a deep gash on his knee and minor cuts on his face and neck. After pulling out the tiny bullets, he cautiously uses a mirror to peer into the living room. He's horrified to see bullets shattering the ceiling lights and a cannonball setting a wall lamp on fire. The mirror in his hand is suddenly shattered by another projectile. Furious, Jason slams the door shut, runs to his bedroom, and grabs his real gun. He storms back out and opens fire under the couch, but his unseen enemy returns fire with even greater intensity. He narrowly dodges a cannonball aimed at his stomach and takes cover behind the bar, pouring himself a drink to calm his nerves. He then grabs a rifle and completely obliterates the couch. When he lifts the wrecked furniture, he freezes at the sight. A squad of toy soldiers was behind the attack. He watches in disbelief as they move with incredible speed, medics evacuating the wounded while another unit lays down cover fire for the retreat. Jason snaps, stomping on them with his feet, but the others keep shooting. Suddenly, he hears a strange whirring sound as 3 miniature helicopters emerge and attack him with a barrage of rockets, blowing up parts of his kitchen.
Jason manages to shoot one down, then flees to his room and locks the door, trying to patch himself up in a state of shock. A rocket blasts a hole through the door, and a helicopter flies in to attack. He smothers it with a towel and crushes it with his foot. Another chopper enters, and he chases it down, firing his pistol until it retreats. He returns to the wreckage of the first helicopter and finds the tiny soldiers inside are still alive. He throws them in the toilet and flushes. He then grabs a hairdryer and tosses it into the water, electrocuting them and causing a short that plunges the entire apartment into darkness. In the dark, Jason stitches up his knee and finds a can of bug spray, deciding to use it as a weapon. Just then, the soldiers slide a note under the door demanding his surrender. He scrolls "Never" on it and shoves it back. He hears loud noises outside and peers through the hole in the door to see them setting up the cannon. As shells begin to tear the door apart, Jason escapes through the bathroom window. Jason carefully makes his way along the narrow ledge of the high-rise building when a helicopter ambushes him, shooting him in the ear. He nearly falls, but catches himself at the last second. When the soldier runs out of ammo, Jason seizes the opportunity and destroys the chopper, only to realize he's out of bullets too. He gets back inside the apartment to find the remaining soldiers preparing for another round. A plan forms in his mind. He tosses a rubber duck into the swimming pool. When the soldiers leave their posts to investigate the sound, he sneaks up behind them and blasts them with a fire extinguisher. As they scramble in confusion, he flicks his lighter in front of the bug spray, creating a makeshift flamethrower and incinerating a jeep with its crew. Jason lets out a triumphant roar, believing the fight is over. But as he moves in to finish them off, the foam evaporates and another cannon shell hits him. In a rage, he grabs a heavy box and smashes the remaining soldiers, finally ending the battle. Or so he thinks. He gathers up their tiny bodies, dismantles their weapons, and throws everything into the garbage disposal. Exhausted and wounded, he gets into his pool to rest, but jumps out screaming in pain, his hand bleeding profusely. He looks into the water in terror, but sees nothing. He wraps his hand and decides he can't stay. He has to get to a hospital. He gets in the elevator, but hears strange scuttling sounds inside. Suddenly, the control panel explodes, the lights die, and the elevator grinds to a halt. The emergency hatch on the ceiling opens, and one last toy soldier drops in. This one is different, faster, stronger. It slashes Jason's leg in his other hand before he can even locate it. Jason manages to pull himself out of the hatch and onto the roof of the elevator car. But the soldier throws a tiny explosive that hits his heel, causing unbearable pain.
Jason sees the soldier arming itself with a knife. At the same moment, he spots another elevator car descending nearby. He leaps onto it, thinking he's safe, then drops down inside and hits the button for the first floor. But what he doesn't know is that the commando clung to his shoe the whole time. The soldier climbs onto his chest, a look of triumph on its face, and begins stabbing him. Jason musters his last ounce of strength and throws it to the floor.
The elevator reaches the first floor and the doors open. But Jason is completely broken. He can't move. As the soldier gets up to deliver the final blow, Jason grabs it and shoves it hard into the closing doors. The soldier fails to stop the doors, and its body is crushed, the top half remaining in Jason's hands. Suddenly, Jason hears the beeping of a timed bomb and sees a red light flashing on the soldier's remains. He knows the explosion is seconds away and he's trapped. Jason accepts his fate, and a moment later, a massive explosion engulfs him. Back in his destroyed apartment, we see the toy box. The sticker has been blown off, revealing the full text underneath. Bonus prize, 1 commando, with timed explosive. And at that moment, the dancing fairy music box begins to play, its tiny figure spinning as if celebrating its revenge for the death of its creator, Hans Morris.